Mixtures. What is a mixture?
A mixture is made of two or more substances that are not chemically bonded together. These substances can be
Elements, compounds.
but the most important point is they are just mixed, not chemically joined together. Example: air is a mixture of gases like nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide. These gases are not bonded, just mixed together. That is why we can separate them. Properties of mixtures. In a mixture, each substance keeps its own properties. Nothing changes chemically. Example: if you mix iron and sulfur, iron stays magnetic and gray. Sulfur stays yellow. They don't become something new unless a chemical reaction happens.
Key idea.
Adding something to a mixture does not change its chemical properties. Separating mixtures. Because substances are not bonded, we can separate them using physical methods. Physical means no chemical reaction, no new substance. Common separation methods: filtration, crystallization, distillation, chromatography. Each method works because substances have different physical properties. Tips for learning: mixture equals no bonding. Compound equals bonding. If you can separate it easily, it is probably a mixture. Questions. Question: what is a mixture? A combination of two or more substances that are not chemically bonded. Question: do substances in a mixture change their properties? No, they keep their original properties. Question: name 3 methods to separate mixtures. Filtration, crystallization, distillation. Paper chromatography. What is chromatography? Chromatography is a method used to separate substances in a mixture, especially colored substances. It is often used to separate dyes in ink. How it works: 1. Draw a line near the bottom of paper using pencil. 2. Place a small spot of ink on the line. 3. Put the paper in a solvent like water. 4. Make sure the ink does not touch the solvent at the start. 5. The solvent moves up the paper. 6. Different substances move at different speeds. 7. They separate into different spots. Important terms: baseline is the starting line. Solvent front is how far the liquid travels. Chromatogram is the final pattern of spots.
Key idea.
Different substances move at different speeds because they interact differently with the solvent and paper.
Interpreting results.
Each spot represents at least one substance. More spots means more substances. But sometimes 2 substances move the same distance. So, you can only say there are at least as many substances as spots. Tips for learning. Pencil must be used because it does not dissolve. Ink must not touch solvent at start or it will wash away. Lid prevents evaporation. Questions. Question. Why must the ink spot not touch the solvent at the start? Because it would dissolve immediately and not separate properly. Question. Why is a lid used? To stop the solvent from evaporating. What is the final pattern called? Chromatogram. Question. How can you separate more than one ink? Place multiple spots on the baseline with space between them. Application questions. Question. Why might one ink not produce any spots? Because it does not dissolve in the solvent. Question. What should be done instead? Use a different solvent that can dissolve it. Question. If you see 3 spots, how many substances are present? At least 3. More separating techniques. Filtration. Used to separate an insoluble solid from a liquid. How it works. Pour mixture into filter paper. Liquid passes through. Solid stays behind. Key idea. Insoluble means it does not dissolve. Questions. Question. What method separates an insoluble solid from a liquid? Filtration. Evaporation. Used to get a solid from a solution quickly. Steps. Heat the solution. Solvent evaporates. Solid remains. Important. Only use if the substance does not break down when heated. Crystallization. Used when you want crystals, or the substance breaks down with heat. Steps. Heat solution gently. Let it cool. Crystals form. Filter and dry. Key idea. Slower cooling gives bigger crystals. Questions. What equipment is used in evaporation? Evaporating dish. Heat source. Question. What is the final step in crystallization? Filtering and drying the crystals. Questions. Question. How to separate silver bromide from water? Use filtration because it is insoluble. Question. How to separate sodium nitrate without breaking it? Use crystallization because heating too much would decompose it. Question. In a mixture of lead bromide and sodium sulfate solution, what is separated by filtration? Lead bromide. What is separated by crystallization? Sodium sulfate. Combining techniques. Real chemistry is not lazy. You often need more than one method. Example: salt and sand. Steps. Add water to dissolve salt. Filter to remove sand. Evaporate water to get salt. Final learning tips. Always check if the substance is soluble. Always ask if heat will damage it. Choose method based on properties, not guess.